Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja, right here from Trust TV's headquarters. My name is Ayuba Ilya, and of course, as always, I'm not alone in the studio. Good morning, Stella.
Good morning, Ayuba. Good morning, Nigerians, and thank you for welcoming us into your homes this morning. My name is Stella Iyaji.
And yes, today we have fully packed show for you, and we are super excited that you are able to join us. We are looking at quite a number of issues that I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss for a bit. Now, let's take a look at the headlines. We've arrested killers behind our church attack, says General Lucky Irabo.
If you take me away from PDP, I will still perform. Wiki.
EFCC arrests siblings, 16 others in Kogi over internet fraud.
ExxonMobil acquisition by Seplat. Federal government interfering with judicial process. Akwa Ibom government.
All right, let's take a look at the details now. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has said effective leadership is not about political party. Wike said this at the inauguration of the dualized Ogbunwa Bali Eastern Bypass Road that was performed by an All Progressives Congress chieftain, Senator Aliyu Wamako, on Tuesday. The governor said it is wrong for people to think that leadership is a function of a political party when it is actually about the mindset of the individual. Wike stated that this undying love, passion, and commitment to render effective service to Rivers people have sufficiently differentiated him from other politicians. That is why he asserted that there is a sustained commitment to add value to life, impact change with the infrastructural revolution, and make the state better. Wike said while others had used the economic hardship as excuse not to render leadership and service to their people, he found a more rewarding way to sustain the delivery of projects in Rivers State.
Now, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, has said that security operatives have arrested the suspected killers of worshippers at St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. Speaking at a meeting with editors and media executives in Abuja on Tuesday, Irabo said the suspects will be paraded after the conclusion of investigation. According to him, the military has also neutralized many bandits terrorizing the country. Daily Trust reported how terrorists on June 5, 2022 attacked St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, Ondo State, and killed many worshippers.
Now, the Ilorin Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested 18 suspected internet fraudsters during a sting operation in Lokoja, Kogi State. This is the second of such operation in the state within the last 2 months after the command, which covers Kwara, Ekiti, and Kogi states, arrested 19 suspects at different locations in the town in June. Those arrested in the latest raid include 2 siblings, Abdul Karim Bala and Ayuba Bala, Adebayo Olubumi, Yusuf Salau, Victor Yakubu, Victor Ude, Abutu Francis, Moses Akeji, and Ayegbe Tangot. Others are Eniola Adeniji, Abraham Ayodele, Julius Omowale, Samuel Onoja, Saka Usman Ojo, Isaac Emmanuel, Yusuf Muhammad, Ibrahim Musa, and Omonu Ojochime. Victor. He said that the suspects will be charged upon the conclusion of investigations.
The Akwa Ibom State government has stated that the proposed acquisition of shallow water assets of Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited by Seplat Energy is an interference with the judicial process. The State Attorney General Uko Udom, in a statement, said the proposed transaction is subject to an existing restraining order from the State High Court. He said the attention of the state government has been drawn to publication by Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, to the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari, in his capacity as Minister of Petroleum Resources, has consented to the acquisition of shallow water assets of Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited by Seplat Energy. According to him, this has informed the general public that this proposed transaction is subject to restraining orders of injunction of the High Court of Akwa Ibom State, sitting in Uyo in suit number HEK 56 2018, Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State vs. Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited, and HU 209 2022, Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited vs. Governor of Akwa Ibom State and 3 others. ExxonMobil, Supply Energy, NNPC Limited, and the federal government of Nigeria all have actual knowledge of the court orders, having been duly served with the orders and or various newspaper publications of same, he said.
All right, now let's take a look at some packages. Now, as part of efforts to strengthen the current security architecture in Gombe State, the state government has organized a 3-day security summit in collaboration with the Counter-Fraud Center, and the opening ceremony of the program held at the Gombe State Government House on Tuesday. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, said that the summit is timely. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail has more on this.
Gombe is one of the most peaceful states in the northeast of Nigeria, which has been ravaged by the activities of insurgents for over a decade. The deteriorating security situation in northern Nigeria, characterized by the activities of bandits and kidnappers, Gombe State government is not taking its internal security lightly.
Gombe State Peace and Security Summit was convened by this administration under my leadership in order to provide an opportunity for a carefully selected cohort of experts, security personnel, government officials, strategic stakeholders, and community leaders so as to aggregate and explore pressing internal security issues with a view to identifying community pathways of mitigating them for lasting peace and stability.
The Inspector General of Police said more should be done to enhance peace and security in the state.
Our 3-day Security and Peace Summit, which is being organized under the theme Mitigating Contemporary Security Challenges for Sustainable Development in Gombe State, is coming at a critical time when the Nigeria Police Force under my leadership is working towards deepening the engagement of the concept of community partnership in trying to prevent or control crime and criminality.
Counter-Fraud Center, a consultancy firm which partnered the Gombe State government in organizing the summit, said state governments in the northeast must be vigilant to prevent bandits from infiltrating the region.
Improve community policing and increase peaceful coexistence, because it's the people that know the people that are causing the insecurity. So let it be everybody's business to ensure that we are secure. So we have to increase that. Of course, improve the criminal justice system. We have to dispense our justice faster, because most of the issues, especially when you look at the farmers' herders crisis, and so many issues, has been caused by the slow dispensation of justice. So these are just the 3 things I would just like to advise.
Governor Yahya also unveiled 28 operational vehicles to security agencies in the state to enhance their operations. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Now still on security issues. The incessant terrorist attacks continue to ravage communities in Katsina State, as 6 different communities were attacked on Sunday. During those separate attacks, about 11 people were reportedly killed, dozens displaced, hundreds abducted, while several others escaped with gunshot wounds. Trust TV's Abdullah Yamadi visited some survivors at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina and now reports.
These survivors narrowly escaped death from terrorist attacks in their communities and can recollect what happened even in hospital bed. This victim from Matazu local government is unhappy with security operatives for their inability to contain the deteriorating situation. But he also blames activities of informants for the escalation of insecurity in Katsina State. My village was attacked. The terrorists are unleashing mayhem on our communities, yet no one is doing anything about it. DPO Musawa is doing his very best, but his men lack the capacity to confront the terrorists every time. This witness recounts the attacks on Shola Quarters and Chechnya in Katsina Metropolis, which left one person dead, a couple abducted, and 3 others hospitalized. The terrorists come to Shola Quarters and Chechnya in large numbers and heavily armed. They targeted the local vigilante and killed one. They were shooting sporadically to scare residents before gaining access into their victims' houses. This is the first time in 2 months Katsina City is coming under brutal terrorist attack. Residents are happy with the recent Air Force strikes on some terrorist camps where dozens were neutralized. They are, however, appealing for synergy between all security operatives in tackling the menace. The most puzzling of all is how the terrorists attack their victims without resistance from any security operative in recent times. Residents see the dire need for political will in dealing with the terrorists from governments to allow people access their farms and other social activities. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Coast Television News, Katsina.
Now let's look at political matters. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Kano State is assuring its supporters that the party will resolve the crisis within the party before the 2023 general elections. Idris Jibrin reports that the leadership of the party has been factionalized, with each faction claiming authenticity. The report.
According to the Muhammad Abacha-led faction of the party, the crisis within the PDP in Kano is being masterminded by the national leadership of the PDP, which they argued is working for the ruling APC, whereas the Wali-led faction of the party is accusing former Senator Konkoso of controlling the party.
The national headquarters is not comfortable with Sagagi-led faction because they are well formed by the Konkoso. And there is no way, if you take the number of the leadership, the ward level, we have 17 people as a ESCO. In the local government, we have 18 people as a leaders. If you add the number, 17 people times 484, and the 18 people times 44, and the plus 39 people in the state, it will give you the number of more than 9,000 people. There is no way, and any sense somebody will not understand or agree that all of them, they boycott Congress and they didn't follow the Congress.
They are listening to people to whom they are used to failures, electoral failures. To them it's a normal thing. So they have to be concocting that show whether Sagagi is working for Konkoso, because that's the only thing that remains for them to be relevant in the party.
For the Wali-led faction, the primaries which produced Muhammad Abacha was not sanctioned by the party's national leadership, neither conducted in accordance with the law.
If Sagagi wanted to conduct primary in Kano State, first of all, he has to print his form for the gubernatorial candidate. And he has to screen them. Then he can do a primary to them. But they purchase their form at the national headquarters. And when the national headquarters picks the date for screening of the candidate, they went to Abuja national headquarters. And the panel screens them and gives them clearance certificate that they are screened to participate a primary election in Kano State. The one who sells the form for you and screen you has the power to do you primary and submit your name to INEC. So Shehu Sagagi, he didn't sell the form for them. He didn't screen them. Where did he get the authority, or where did he get the power to do a primary to them?
Meanwhile, the Abacha-led faction argued that the primaries was conducted in accordance with the INEC guidelines and was witnessed by the INEC officials, hence recognized Muhammad Abacha as the legitimate gubernatorial candidate of the party in Kano.
What happened is not INEC doing. It is the work of our party national headquarters, especially the Department of Organization. They are the one who uploaded those names. I even suspect Some of those at the helms of affairs of the party at the national level, I suspect they are working for APC. That's what they are trying to make sure that PDP didn't win, especially here in Kano.
Although both factions will head to court to resolve their differences, but for now, the PDP has two gubernatorial candidates in Kano State. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Still on political matters, supporters of the incumbent chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, Christopher Mekalangu, recently sacked by an election tribunal judgment, clashed with that of APC chairmanship candidate Murtala Karshi, who was given victory by the court. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that though the embattled AMAC chairman vowed to appeal the judgment, tension is rising among supporters who are currently threatening the peace in the area. Let's look at the report.
The three-man election tribunal led by Chief Magistrate Moinat Oyekon had on the 5th of August declared the APC candidate in the council poll held on the 12th of February this year, Murtala Usman, winner of the election, having scored highest number of lawful votes cast.
Judgment of Friday was a blow to judiciary, a blow to democracy, and a blow to the wish of the persons and individuals that voted on the 12th of February. For example, the judge, the panel judges who delivered that judgment could not up to today tell us where they manufactured the votes they finally used to give the APC's candidate victory.
The tribunal further directed INEC to withdraw the certificate of return from the PDP candidate Christopher Mekalangu and issue same to the petitioner. Responding to the judgment, however, Mekalangu vowed to appeal the outcome and moved to secure a stay of execution pending the determination of the appeal.
Immediately after that judgment, the APC members came to this at the gate here and tore all the banners and other things that were here. In short, they tried to penetrate into the council itself, but thank God the security agencies who were there were able to lock the gates. Immediately after that, the executive chairman of AMAC released a press statement asking residents of AMAC to be calm and that he will definitely appeal the judgment.
Meanwhile, as the respondent explored legal means to overturn the tribunal judgment, the petitioner wants prompt implementation of the judgment, a situation breeding tensions amongst their supporters. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Well, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, has raised concerns over the prolonged strike by Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. ASU has been on strike since February 14, where the APC National Chairman Party called on all stakeholders, including parents, to prevail on the union to end the strike. Let's take a look at this report put together by Musa Luka.
The recent comment by Minister of State for Labor and Empowerment and Bola Tinubu's presidential campaign spokesperson, Festus Keyamo, on the strike raised dust. APC National Chairman Senator Adamu Abdullahi appreciated the concerns of parents toward the prolonged ASU strike, hoping that the party will push for agreement.
This party is a party in government, and we more than appreciate the concerns of parents and our children who have been out of school for quite some time now. I do know and I appreciate the effort government is making, and it is my hope that ASU will come to reality with government so that we'll have a meeting point and bring solace to our children and their parents.
Abdullahi also commented on the threat by some National Assembly members to impeach the president.
It's a very sorry development, yes. And as you can see, that is no longer on. It's no longer on. Yeah, it's the National Assembly expect this heat. It happens everywhere, in every democracy.
The chairman, however, believes the party is positioned to win election in 2023. Musa Luka, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Thank you, Musa Luka, for that report. We'll take a short break now. When we return, the show continues. Please stay.
on where you find that look like the same.
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
All right, thank you for staying. It's now time for us to take a look at the stories on the front pages, talking about the dailies on Daybreak. We have in the studio Ben Sherman, the Director of News, Voice of Nigeria, who will be giving us perspectives on some of the stories. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak.
Always a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, so let's take a look at some of the stories, beginning with Daily Trust newspaper. It has quite interesting stories. The lead story, presidency. NUPRC fracas puts $1.28 billion Seplat ExxonMobil deal in limbo. It has the writers that says how PIA empowers Commission on business deals. Why we oppose President's approval. That's according to the NUPRC. Parties must follow regulations, according to experts. We have other stories there besides the pictorial. Basically, the pictorial is about the Electoral Commission officials. They count votes after the official closing of polls during the Kenya's general election at Matare Social Hall in Nairobi, Kenya. And that's yesterday. We also have stories beside that. We've arrested our church attackers. Defense chief. Kenyan presidential poll. Ballot counting begins as voting ends. Oil subsidy. Reps summon finance minister, give 1 week ultimatum. And then the stories above the lead story. Allow attacks on national assets and be sanctioned. NSCDC CG warns commandants. Republicans react as FBI agents raid Trump's Florida home. Residents scamper for safety as bandits strike in Katsina metropolis. You also have below the pictorial, Atiku, Wike's dispute stalls composition of PDP campaign council. Candidate considers Makinde Tambuwal for DG post. I can perform well in or out of PDP, Rivers governor. So these are the stories on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper.
Now let's take a look at the This Day newspaper. The This Day newspaper has a story that says, from the DHQ, we have arrested suspects of our Catholic Church attack. It has a writer that says, rules out use of mercenaries in the fight against terrorists. Insist Abuja is safe. Akeredolu confirms arrest of 5 suspected church attackers. Afenifere welcomes development. Above that, we have a story that says how Buhari shut down $480 million Paris Club refund. The writer says President sets up committee to review case. FEC agrees it's insensitive to current realities. All right, there's also the story here that says dollar crisis, Nigeria rated most crypto-obsessed nation in the world. Right above that, federal government to Nigerians, don't allow another civil war in the country. And then beneath the last headline there says, Wike insults elders, bullies others, alleges, this is coming from the governor's estranged ally. These are the major stories on the This Day newspaper.
All right, so let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. Quite a number of stories there. The lead story says, Wike's romance with Tinubu's men rattles Amechi's base. It has the writers that says, Wike desperate for alliance with Tinubu wants protection after 2023, Rivers APC says. Amechi unhappy about Abe's closeness to Tinubu, says ex-minister's associate. Rivers governor free to join APC, Shitu. Wike, Atiku's loyalist, trade blame. You have also, above the masthead, settle with ASU now, Vice Chancellor's beg FG. Diesel hike, NRC reduces Lagos-Ibadan trips by 67%. FG inaugurates council to retrieve Ajakuta, others. You also have reps summon finance minister over subsidy, query NNPC. Below the pictorial, FG issues 1.9 million passports, inaugurates production center. 5 arrested over our attack, governor warns kidnappers. Lagos-Ibadan traffic, miscreants rob motorists, police deny abduction. Corona indicts regulatory bodies over Ikoyi building collapse. So these are the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
Now let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper has a lead story that says Wike remains boastful as cracks emerge in his party. We have a writer that says Maiba, Opara, Omeha fall out with Wike over Atiku. Then there's another writer there. No move to divide Rivers PDP, says Atiku camp. Abe to Wike, don't turn Rivers to dark days of toxic politics. Maiba accuses Wike of working against Atiku. And then we also have another story here that says INEC denies recognizing Lawan Akpabio as senatorial candidates. Akeredolu CDS confirm arrest of our church attackers. Then above here, just beneath the masthead, we have broadband penetration hits 44.5% as NCC reviews short code services. NAS wants political merchants restate focus on good governance. There's also the story here, Reps begins fuel subsidy probe, subpoenas minister. Also on The Guardian, 2023 tension as Taraba government sanctions 3 monarchs, 25 workers. These are the major stories on The Guardian newspaper.
All right, and on The Nation newspaper this morning, the lead story says 5 suspects, 1 accomplice held over our church attack. You also have Irabo. It says Nigeria does not need mercenaries. We have been trailing attackers, says Akeredolu. You have also above the masthead, FRS demands 1 trillion naira tax remittance from MDAs. 15 states fail to implement 30,000 naira wage for teachers. RCCG ordains over 15,000 ministers at 70th convention. Ondo Assembly declares 2 seats vacant. So I think these are the stories. One more, I can sway Rivers voters, Wike boast. So these are some of the stories on The Nation newspaper this morning.
Now on to the Blueprint newspaper. The Blueprint newspaper has a lead story that says, we have arrested masterminds of our church attack, Irabo. The first writer says, unveils identity of culprits to be paraded soon. Assures 2023 polls will hold as scheduled. Commandants to be held responsible for attacks on government facilities. This is coming from the NSCDC. 20,000 Shimfida Katsina IDPs return home. We also have a story here that says 4 killed in Ilorin courts rival clash. Northern APC stakeholders reject Lalong as Tinubu's campaign DG. Also beneath that, we have Lagos, the stories from Lagos. Cleric one order to die by hanging for using 7-year-old for ritual. Then we also have the story here, broadband penetration hits 45.5%. And just beneath here, Buhari lauds Yusuf Ali at 60. Then just right below the Blueprint masthead, we have Nemasa pays law firm over $5 million for services not rendered. These are the major stories on the Blueprint for today.
All right. So let's get perspectives on some of the stories now. Like we introduced earlier, Ben Sherman, Director of News Voice of Nigeria, is with us in the studio as our guest reviewer. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Quite interesting stories this morning. One that caught my attention is the Owo church attack suspects that were arrested. I recall that back in June, we had Amotekun said that suspects have been arrested with regards to our church attack. So I'm a bit of I'm wondering though, at the time, the identities of those that were arrested wasn't revealed at the time. So perhaps, is it the same people that were arrested then and now being represented? I'm just curious.
Yes, I think your curiosity is being answered by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Loki Rabo. Yesterday he spoke with senior editors, and of course he was saying those arrested were even supposed to be paraded before the media people yesterday, but at a point they felt, look, they parade them on a different date, but said their own leader is of the ISWAP, and he was definite about it. So he, of course, gave some little biographies of those people, where they come from, and so it's so detailed. And some of the activities they've been carrying and where they've been carrying, he was able to say all of that. So you remember too, when it happened, some people were quick at saying, look, it's this or that group that did it. At the point ISWAP said they were responsible, and of course now we are hearing from the defense headquarters, they have caught some people, they are in the net, they will soon be paraded before Nigerians.
So we can say for sure that ISWAP are actually behind those attacks?
Sure, because we don't have any other superior information. And it's coming from the Chief of our Defense Staff. He is the boss of them all when it comes to security. And from his mouth, I think I was there, when he said all of these things. And he was questioned. And of course, he insisted in all of this. And he said, look, we would have simply brought them. And usually, you know the way they do, they can also allow the press to interrogate them. And that also brings some kind of credence as to allowing you to get a feeler from those people.
All right. The incident happened on June 5th. Today is August 10th, and now we already have suspected, the people that allegedly committed this thing. Will you say that the investigation was, will you say that the quest to find these people was quick? Or do you think that it could have been done, it could have been faster?
Yeah, you see, the thing with the military is that even when we want information so quick, so fast, served onto us, they have to take time to do their job. And usually when they carry attacks in a group, they disperse. And it will go different way. Imagine some key Boko Haram guys, arrested in Ogun State. One was already employed as a chief security man in a company. And so when they attack, of course, they disperse. When they disperse and they are now on the trail, of course, when you get one, you begin to look at the telephone contacts, you begin to trace communication. It involves GSM providers that will also provide data, because at that point, the law allows security agencies to monitor conversations, see text messages. Some of these texts we delete still, they still stay in the data of the GSM companies for quite a long time before they get finally deleted by the system. So the time they have taken from June to now, June, July, August, about 3 months, you see that it has to be a painstaking kind of a job to ensure that not the wrong person is arrested. So if they have come out to say this is it, it also means they've reached somewhere. But there could be some accessories after the event. When somebody is being arrested, at the point of questioning, they begin to mention some other people. We met in so place, and that place was facilitated by another person. So you see the dragnet once cast, you begin to just grab and see whatever.
Do you think that if the military is able to always arrest and find the perpetrators of all these attacks that we have across the country, do you think that it will have an effect on the security situation, general security situation?
Surely, you see, when they dominate, when they catch, when they bring to trial, of course, it brings some kind of confidence. And that's why even the same Chief of Defense Staff, when asked, with all of this, do we have some fears when it comes to the elections 2023? He said, no, they will try to do their best, and of course, they will ensure it is done. So, if they want to do a thorough job, and of course, they, as he said, we are ready, talking of the military, to ensure that this is done. And the question was even asked as to if they would need some assistance by way of mercenaries. The man said, look, we are capable. Give us the material, we have the men on ground, and you bring in mercenaries who indeed are after their salaries. And they won't want to earn their job a kind of. So if they end the job, what happens? So they begin to prolong it, as you can see in what is happening in Burkina Faso and Mali. They brought in the Wagner, and Wagner is busy also attacking civilians. You know, some big destructions going on. And the time they gave as to when they will finish this, they don't want to finish because they are receiving in dollars. So they don't want
that's entirely another argument.
Yeah.
And if we delve into that, I'm sure there are those who will be arguing against some of the points that you are raising.
But sometimes when you see the pride of the military, sometimes they say, look, we can do it, just give us the material.
But looking at the identities of the suspects that have been arrested, for instance, if you look at the Nation newspaper, some names have been displaced as the suspects, displaced on the front page of the newspaper: Idris Ojab, Jimo Ibrahim, Idris Abdul Malik, Momo Abubakar, Aliyu Itopa, Awal Onimisi. Does this suggest anything
There's also one Omeza in it.
Yes. So does this suggest anything about the makeup of ISWAP members?
I recall a very senior journalist saying, hey, all these names are from my side, going by this name. Oh, my people, a kind of. So you see, but terrorism is not limited to just a tribe or a religion or a region. So bad people are all over the place. Good people are, I believe, more than the bad people. So going by these names, yeah, you can infer, yes, these people come from these areas. Now, it's now left for the security agencies to go into some profiling. You begin to know antecedents. Where has this one been? Who are his friends? You monitor, as we again said, because the law allows them to track, do some tracking of their conversations, do some tracking of their movements, and of course you begin to look at even their financial statements in every bank to see what it looks like. Very juicy. You begin to also know, it gives you an idea about if there is financial or terrorism sponsorship, and where is this money coming in, the inflow, then you look at the outflow, sent to who, for what purpose, and that's why when you do some transfers, they tell you the narration there, this money is for what.
Okay, so just briefly before we move on to another story, was there any mention as to the charges that are going to be placed on them and when they will be charged to court and the rest of them, the legal processes?
No, they didn't mention when, but it was a matter of very soon. Maybe some legal issues ensured, or there was they realized that some other gaps were being, some information that needed to be tackled, maybe, but as per the date, for them to be brought to the court, it wasn't.
But wouldn't you say that it would be good for it to be done as quick as possible? Because a lot of times people have said that it is the fact that people are not seen to be punished for their crimes is also an incentive for more crimes in the country.
I agree with you, but you see, like the military will say, it starts mostly with the civilians. And it's when it has gone too bad that you call in the military. And the military they are not a negotiating institution. They are not diplomats. Theirs is to shoot and kill. because you have so given them the opportunity. But look at those they've arrested. There are so many. Look at Boko Haram that because of the pressure being brought onto them, even in Sambisa forest, see how many of those Chibok ladies are just escaping. Now, you have a very large population of people who have surrendered. And some, of course, surrendered genuinely. Some were overpowered, some were arrested, and some are still very, very adamant, and they are still believe in their kind of religion. And so, again, society is worried. Do you just release these people to society? And by the time you hold them in a facility where the number is even more than the military, what are the security implications? Bearing in mind that these are people who have been trained in guerrilla tactics and warfare in the bushes, and they are really anti-human beings. And you look at the way they have been fed, well fed, when indeed we also have soldiers in the trenches who need this feeding. So it is a very big issue for the Nigerian authorities, especially the political class. When the soldiers arrest this and they are being camped, they are being trained. Now, when they are being trained, what really is the kind of training? What are the facilities? What are the startup facilities being given to them so that they can be responsible people in society? And are we ready to receive them? Bearing in mind that even thieves that are in the family that have been imprisoned for 6 months, you release them back in the family, they are being seen as belonging down there to the men of the underworld. Now you have terrorists who have killed, destroyed. They're saying we are releasing them to society. So it has to be a lot of homework, orientation, reorientation to ensure that people accept these people.
All right. So we are seeing also another story here on the front page of the Nation newspaper, how 15 states failed to implement a 30,000 naira minimum wage for teachers. This is worrisome, isn't it? 15 states, that's a high number.
Very.
Looking at the fact that the 30,000 naira minimum wage for almost 2 years now since that bill was passed. So how is it that we still have 15 states unable to pay? Or is it, well, are they unable to pay, or is it just the will not to pay? And how will this impact on the, teachers?
Or both, unable to pay and the will to pay. Because if you cut down costs in many other areas, the cost of governance, cost of entertainment, cost of conferences, cost of running some government activities in government houses, you see that you pay teachers. And we're talking of the very basic when it comes to trying to build a foundation. You see in some states in the north, some structures are just there, so ideal. But when it comes to the teachers, teacher quality, teacher content, and even the curriculum is just not there. I've seen that the searchlight is so much on Borno, where indeed they've seen him as a standard bearer when it comes to physical development of that state, and even the schools, especially primary school, secondary school. At the point he went on a surprise visit, he met a lady seated and waiting for pupils. He said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm a teacher, and of course, from where? It happened to be an Igbo lady who was waiting for pupils. So salary was bad, and for it, the man took some
Well, it's the
steps.
same Borno that we were hearing just a few days ago, that someone was there was something on social media suggesting teachers are paid as low as 6,000 naira.
Very. I saw that, and that was why I said the searchlight was on him on a very wrong side. So if you check the kind of structures, physical structures, when it comes to education, primary, secondary, in Borno, I tell you, I want to see how many states, very few can beat him. And when you come to the case of Kaduna State,
is it a structure that is affecting that is responsible for the non-payment of the salaries?
Yeah, you see, that was why I said you have to balance it. You can't pay so much attention to structure to the extent that the teachers who will teach in those schools are not taken care of. have the best of the classrooms, best of furniture, best of everything, but the teacher is left uncatered for, and it's applicable to many states.
Aside teachers, in many states, they're not paying this 30,000 minimum wage to even other workers, not necessarily just teachers. So what would you say about that?
Yeah, you see, because it's like the law. Many people will break the law, they don't get arrested, but one person will break that same day he's arrested. And so what am I trying to say? Yes, it is a general application to many states. Just a few have indeed doubled that minimum wage, kind of. If you go to Kaduna State, virtually every time teachers, especially primary school teachers, are always on focus. And if you check, you see that at the point they said they needed professional teachers, some people sat down in Kaduna and did some sacking, like merely ticking. And in some schools, entire school, all the teachers were sacked.
Well, some people said it was because they failed exams.
They failed exam, I mean, so how will you now close schools? I can take you, Stella, to some schools here in just after Buhari here, and you see, I know in Chori Chawe, in Kauru local government, I've been there, I saw pupils hanging. What was happening? After sacking everyone, they posted a lady, just one lady. She's the headmistress, she's the assistant, she's the classroom teacher for every, I mean, at the point I snapped that school, I said, something should be done. I don't know whether they've done something now. It's that serious. If you check here in Abuja, sorry, just a moment. If you check here in Abuja, you go and see how many people have been recruited under the education sector in FCT here. And they are not teachers, they are not administrators, they just receive salaries, when indeed schools need teachers. So why didn't you just recruit professionals to fill in the gaps?
Yes, but that takes time, isn't it? It takes process, right?
To recruit, it takes a process. It's not like trying to plant a coconut tree.
You know, what you are likely to get, you know, in his defense, I'm not speaking for him, but the explanation that you are likely to get is that recruiting teachers takes time, and that to fix anything, you have to break it. To fix anything, you have to, you know, kind of destroy what has been. So what would you say to that?
Well, if you say recruiting teachers take a long time, I would rather say no. But revamping the education sector can take a long time because of the destruction. See what ASU is doing now, and I tell you, it's not going to be so easy so soon for Nigeria.
Revamping the education sector includes getting the right kind of teachers, quality teachers.
I mean,
to impact knowledge.
Yes. Are we saying that
a teacher who is failing exams can hardly impact knowledge?
Well, it depends on who is setting the exam. It depends on what standard. It depends on if the goalpost is also permanent. Because if you shift the goalpost, today is narrow, tomorrow is wider and getting wider. And when you say 70% is the pass mark, then there is another standard. But I do know that quite a lot of things are wrong when it comes to the basics, primary education.
Right. So
teacher education is no longer there. How many teacher training colleges are there? Yet we want standard education. Technical colleges, how many are there? Yet we want nice education. 6334 system that is supposed to be the basic in terms of training, in terms of basic technology, in terms of everything, is just not being followed.
All right, another story that's virtually almost on all the front pages is the story of PDP versus Wike, and the flag bearer of the party, Atiku Abubakar. It seems to be making headlines almost daily these days. And I'm wondering how important that is to our national conversation when we have much more important issues to actually deal with. I mean, why the focus? Why the focus on the PDP and its fracas?
Yeah, you see, why the focus on PDP? Why the focus on Wike? Of course, Wike is an attention grabber. It's a headline grabber. And of course, sometimes you get these headlines positively or negatively. And for a very long time, at the point, Wike even refused to talk. His refusing to talk was also news. His talking, it is also news. But you see, at the point, if you look at it, you could be gauging, moving somewhere. see the romance he's now having with the opposition party. Now look at the interpretation. They're saying if Asiwaju wins, he wants to have soft landing. EFCC will not go after him. These are thinking of people. But I'm also saying that there should be a limit as to where you belong, and you begin to cast aspersion to it. Where I come from, they said it's an offense for you to point at your father's house with left hand and say that is his house. Just say this is our house, you embrace it. So if Wike is feeling that he could rattle his own presidential candidate, he could rattle the party. Of course, the party also has constitution. And of course, that also, look at what some of the APC, PDP members in Rivers are saying. The conduct or alleged misconduct by the governor is also giving some fears. And the constitution will say, where there is a crisis, you can port. So if you create the crisis, it also means you can leave the party. And of course, so I think it doesn't augur well for democracy. It doesn't teach our young students who indeed are watching to be politicians, who indeed are going to be mentors politically. If it's just going to be this much slinging here and there, I think it shouldn't just be.
All right. I would like you to comment on this story on the Daily Trust newspaper. Presidency NUPRC fracas puts $1.28 billion Seplat ExxonMobil deal in limbo. Now, I mean, I'm sure you have been following the forth and back that has been going on. The president assented to the purchase of the stake by Seplat. The regulatory commission is saying that, oh no, it's a regulatory matter. We had earlier declined assent. We had earlier said that this should not be approved and all of that. What do you think? And why do we have this forth and back between the two?
We have this forward and back thing because some people are not reading the law very well. Stella, can the president sit down here today and appoint a Chief Justice of the Federation? He cannot. There has to be a process. Now, the regulatory agency is saying, yes, it is our job when it comes to contracts of this nature.
Yes, but the president is the Minister of Petroleum, right?
The president
and the role
is the
of
minister.
the regulatory
It does not
body
mean
is
that
advisory, isn't it?
So you can give an advice that will not be taken?
We advise based on the law. And if the law says there is, you want to sell the assets of ExxonMobil to Seplat. And Seplat is, of course, indigenous. Some people will feel they should have it. But if there are cutting of corners, and irrespective of who is cutting the corner, and the people are standing on their ground, yes, as the president is president of the country, he's also Minister of Petroleum. It also follows that all agencies under the petroleum industry are under his supervision. But again, there are laws. If the law says this is how it should be done, so it should be followed. If the law says the president, I doubt if...
Let's not forget that the president himself is the one that pushed for the PIA itself. So is he now going to be breaking the laws, the very laws he pushed for, the signing of them?
So if the president gave money via the Federal Executive Council and they built another River Niger bridge, he will wake up today and say, no, it was during my regime, so I have the right to break it, I have the right to scatter it. And so I think that the president is also a man of the law. Somebody probably did not tell him or advise him very well. And I know the Minister of Justice, Malami, is learned enough. He's senior advocate of Nigeria. And I'm sure this thing will not linger too long because it will say a lot when indeed Nigeria is looking for money. Look at how much is being lost. 1.2 billion US dollars. It's not small amount.
That's not small. Thank you so much. It's a good place to end the discussion on our newspapers this morning. We appreciate you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Our guest reviewer has been Ben Sherman, the Director of News Voice of Nigeria. And with that, we'll take a short breather, and then when we come back, we'll take a look at the headlines again for today. Please stay with us.
But in a situation where you find that they must look at the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
That's great. You can see it.
All right, thank you for staying. You're watching Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja. It's top of the hour. Let's have a look at the headlines again. No more passport booklets shortage in Nigeria, says the federal government.
If you take me away from PDP, I'll still perform. Wike.
Now, EFCC arrests siblings, 16 others in Kogi.
ExxonMobil acquisition by Seplat, federal government interfering with judicial process, Akwa Ibom government.
There's no shortage of booklets again for the production of passports in Nigeria, the federal government has claimed. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, made the claim as the commissioning of the Enhanced Passport Production Center in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, on Tuesday. The newly commissioned Passport Center will now be responsible for the production of passport demands from Rivers, Cross Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Bayelsa states. While speaking, Governor Nyesom Wike, who was represented by his deputy, Dr. Apalibo Gogo Banigo, promised to continue to support the Nigeria Immigration Service in the state, as it was the policy of his administration.
Now, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, has said that security operatives have arrested the suspected killers of worshippers at St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. Speaking at a meeting with editors and media executives in Abuja on Tuesday, Irabor said the suspects will be paraded after the conclusion of investigation. According to him, the military has also neutralized many bandits terrorizing the country. Daily Trust reported how terrorists on June 5th, 2022 attacked St. Francis Catholic Church Owo in Ondo State and killed many worshippers.
The Ilorin Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested 18 suspected internet fraudsters during a sting operation in Lokoja, Kogi State. This is the second of such operation in the state within the last 2 months after the command, which covers Kwara, Ekiti, and Kogi states, arrested 19 suspects at different locations in the town in June. Those arrested in the latest raid include 2 siblings, Abdul Karim Bala and Ayuba Bala, Adebayo Olubumi, Yusuf Salao, Victor Yakubu, Victor Ude, Abutu Francis, Moses Akeji, and Ayegbe Thangod. Others are Eniola Adeniji, Abraham Ayodele, Julius Omowale, Samuel Onoja, Saka Usman Ojo, Isaac Emmanuel, Yusuf Muhammad, Ibrahim Musa, and Emmanuel Ojo Chenime. Also, he said that the suspects will be charged upon the conclusion of investigations.
Now, the Akwa Ibom State government has stated that the proposed acquisition of shallow water assets of Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited by Seplat Energy is an interference with the judicial process. The State Attorney General Uko Udom, in a press release, said the proposed transaction is subject to an existing restraining order from the State High Court. He said the attention of the state government has been drawn to a publication by Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President, Media and Publicity, to the effect that President Muhammadu Buhari, in his capacity as Minister of Petroleum Resources, has consented to the acquisition of shallow water assets of Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited by Seplat Energy. According to him, this is to inform the general public that this proposed transaction is subject to restraining orders of injunction of the High Court of Akwa Ibom State, sitting in Uyo in suit number HEK 56-2018, Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State vs. Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited, and HU 209-2020, Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited vs. Governor of Akwa Ibom State, and 3 others. ExxonMobil, Seplat Energy, NNPC Limited, and the federal government of Nigeria all have actual knowledge of the court orders, having been duly served with the orders and or various newspaper publications of SEM, he said.
All right, now let's take a look at some packages. As part of efforts to strengthen the current security architecture in Gombe State, the state government has organized a 3-day security summit in collaboration with the Counter Fraud Center. At the opening ceremony of the program held at the Gombe State Government House on Tuesday, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Kali Baba, said the summit is timely. Let's take a look.
Gombe is one of the most peaceful states in the northeast of Nigeria, which has been ravaged by the activities of insurgents for over a decade. The deteriorating security situation in northern Nigeria, characterized by the activities of bandits and kidnappers, Gombe State government is not taking its internal security lightly.
Gombe State Peace and Security Summit was convened by this administration under my leadership in order to provide an opportunity for a carefully selected cohort of experts, security personnel, government officials, strategic stakeholders, and community leaders so as to aggregate and explore pressing internal security issues with a view to identifying community pathways of mitigating them for lasting peace and stability.
The Inspector General of Police said more should be done to enhance peace and security in the state.
Our 3-day Security and Peace Summit, which is being organized under the theme Mitigating Contemporary Security Challenges for Sustainable Development in Gombe State, is coming at a critical time when the Nigeria Police Force under my leadership is working towards deepening the engagement of the concept of community partnership in trying to prevent or control crime and criminality.
Counter Fraud Center, a consultancy firm which partnered the Gombe State government in organizing the summit, said state governments in the northeast must be vigilant to prevent bandits from infiltrating the region.
Improve community policing and increase peaceful coexistence, because it's the people that know the people that are causing the insecurity. So it's let it be everybody's business to ensure that we are secure. So we have to increase that. Of course, improve the criminal justice system. We have to dispense our justice faster, because most of the issues, especially when you look at the farmers' herders crisis and so many issues, has been caused by the slow dispensation of justice. So these are just the 3 things I would just like to advise.
Governor Yahya also unveiled 28 operational vehicles to security agencies in the state to enhance their operations. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Still on security matters, the incessant terrorist attacks continue to ravage communities in Katsina State, as 6 different communities were attacked on Sunday. During those separate attacks, about 11 people were reportedly killed, dozens displaced, hundreds abducted, while several others escaped with gunshot wounds. Trust TV's Abdullah Yamadi visited some survivors at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina and now brings us this report.
These survivors narrowly escaped death from terrorist attacks in their communities and can recollect what happened even in hospital bed. This victim from Matazu local government is unhappy with security operatives for their inability to contain the deteriorating situation. But he also blames activities of informants for the escalation of insecurity in Katsina State. My village was attacked. The terrorists are unleashing mayhem on our communities, yet no one is doing anything about it. DPO Musawa is doing his very best, but his men lack the capacity to confront the terrorists every time. This witness recounts the attacks on Shola Quarters and Chechnya in Katsina Metropolis, which left one person dead, a couple abducted, and 3 others hospitalized. The terrorists come to Shola Quarters and Chechnya in large numbers and heavily armed. They targeted the local vigilante and killed one. They were shooting sporadically to scare residents before gaining access into their victims' houses. This is the first time in 2 months Katsina City is coming under brutal terrorist attack. Residents are happy with the recent Air Force strikes on some terrorist camps where dozens were neutralized. They are, however, appealing for synergy between all security operatives in tackling the menace. The most puzzling of all is how the terrorists attack their victims without resistance from any security operative in recent times. Residents see the dire need for political will in dealing with the terrorists from governments to allow people access their farms and other social activities. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Coast Television News, Katsina.
All right. Now let's look at some political stories. Supporters of the incumbent chairman of the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, Christopher Maikalangu, recently sacked by an election tribunal judgment, clashed with that of the APC governorship candidate, Murtala Karshi, who was given victory by the court. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that though the embattled AMAC chairman vowed to appeal the judgment, tension is rising among supporters who are currently threatening the peace in the area. Let's take a look.
The 3-man election tribunal led by Chief Magistrate Moinat Oyekon had on the 5th of August declared the APC candidate in the council poll held on the 12th of February this year, Murtala Usman, winner of the election, having scored highest number of lawful votes cast.
Judgment of Friday was a blow to judiciary, a blow to democracy, and the blow to the wish of the persons and individuals that voted on the 12th of February. For example, the judge, the panel judges who delivered that judgment could not up to today tell us where they manufactured the votes they finally used to give the APC's candidate victory.
The tribunal further directed INEC to withdraw the certificate of return from the PDP candidate Christopher Maikalangu and issue same to the petitioner. Responding to the judgment, however, Maikalangu vowed to appeal the outcome and moved to secure a stay of execution pending the determination of the appeal.
Immediately after that judgment, the APC members came to this at the gate here and tore all the banners and other things that were here. In short, they tried to penetrate into the council itself, but thank God the security agencies who were there were able to lock the gates. Immediately after that, the executive chairman of AMAC released a press statement asking residents of AMAC to be calm and that he will definitely appeal the judgment.
Meanwhile, as the respondent explored legal means to overturn the tribunal judgment, the petitioner wants prompt implementation of the judgment, a situation breeding tensions amongst their supporters. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, has raised concerns over the prolonged strike by Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. ASU has been on strike since February 14, where the APC national chairman of the party called on all stakeholders, including parents, to prevail on the union to end the strike. Musa Luka put together this report.
The recent comment by Minister of State for Labor and Empowerment and Bola Tinubu's presidential campaign spokesperson, Festus Keyamo, on the strike raised dust. APC National Chairman Senator Adamu Abdullahi appreciated the concerns of parents toward the prolonged ASU strike, hoping that the party will push for agreement.
This party is a party in government, and we more than appreciate the concerns of parents and our children who have been out of school for quite some time now. I do know and I appreciate the effort government is making, and it is my hope that ASU will come to reality with government so that we'll have a meeting point and bring solace to our children and their parents.
Abdullahi also commented on the threat by some National Assembly members to impeach the president.
It's a very sorry development, yes. And as you can see, that is no longer on. It's no longer on. Yeah, it's the National Assembly expect this heat. It happens everywhere in every democracy.
The chairman, however, believes the party is positioned to win election in 2023. Musa Luka, Trust TV News, Abuja.
All right, now we'll take a short break, and then when we come back, the Daybreak continues. Please stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NORA.
All right, thank you for staying. If you are just joining, you're watching Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital here in Abuja, coming straight from our headquarters. Now, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Kano State is assuring its supporters that the party will resolve the crisis within the party before the 2023 general elections. Idris Jibrin reports that the leadership of the party has been factionalized, with each faction claiming authenticity. Let's take a look at the report.
According to the Muhammad Abacha-led faction of the party, the crisis within the PDP in Kano is being masterminded by the national leadership of the PDP, which they argued is working for the ruling APC, whereas the Wali-led faction of the party is accusing former Senator Konkoso of controlling the party.
The national headquarters is not comfortable with Sagagi-led faction because they are well formed by the Konkoso. And there is no way, if you take the number of the leadership, the ward level, we have 17 people as a ESCO. In the local government, we have 18 people as a leaders. If you add the number, 17 people times 484, and the 18 people times 44, and the plus 39 people in the state, it will give you the number of more than 9,000 people. There is no way, and any sense somebody will not understand or agree that all of them, they boycott Congress and they didn't follow the Congress.
They are listening to people to whom they are used to failures, electoral failures. To them it's a normal thing. So they have to be concoction that show whether Sagagi is working for Konkoso, because that's the only thing that remains for them to be relevant in the party.
For the Wali-led faction, the primaries which produced Muhammad Abacha was not sanctioned by the party's national leadership, neither conducted in accordance with the law.
If Sagagi wanted to conduct primary in Kano State, first of all, he has to print his form for the gubernatorial candidate. And he has to screen them. Then he can do a primary to them. But they purchase their form at the national headquarters. And when the national headquarters picks the date for screening of the candidate, they went to Abuja national headquarters. And the panel screens them and gives them clearance certificate that they are screened to participate a primary election in Kano State. The one who sells the form for you and screen you has the power to do you primary and submit your name to INEC. So Shehu Sagagi, he didn't sell the form for them. He didn't screen them. Where did he get the authority, or where did he get the power to do a primary to them?
Meanwhile, the Abacha-led faction argued that the primaries was conducted in accordance with the INEC guidelines and was witnessed by the INEC officials, hence recognized Muhammad Abacha as the legitimate gubernatorial candidate of the party in Kano.
What happened is not INEC doing. It is the work of our party national headquarters, especially the Department of Organization. They are the one who uploaded those names. I even suspect some of those at the helms of affairs of the party at the national level. I suspect they are working for APC. That's why they are trying to make sure that PDP didn't win, especially here in Kano.
Although both factions will head to court to resolve their differences, but for now, the PDP has two gubernatorial candidates in Kano State. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
All right, that's our correspondent who now joins us via phone from Kano, Idris Jibrin. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So let's have a sense of what exactly is going on. There has to be one candidate for the party recognized by INEC. So who is that person, and what are the processes involved in determining that person? I believe that INEC must have recognized the true or the genuine faction that that is in Kano State.
Well, actually, Ayuba, right now the only candidate recognized by INEC is Sadiq Wali. That's from the Wali's faction. And initially, people were thinking it's Muhammad Abacha, but later it turns out to be the candidate recognized by INEC is Sadiq Wali. And the process here is that only INEC national headquarters that can send the list of the candidates having won primary election to INEC, and INEC will take that person and confirm him as the gubernatorial candidate of that particular party. Now, some PDP supporters, especially those with X faction, were made to believe that Muhammad Abacha was initially the candidate of the INEC. And during the primary election, INEC representatives attended the primary election that was conducted by the Abacha-led faction. So people started, insisting that Abacha is the legitimate candidate. But then much later, the INEC national headquarters submitted the name of Sadiq Wali as the winner of the gubernatorial primaries in Kano State. Now, all these controversies, there are some things here which people need to understand. According to, I have spoken with one of the PDP chieftains here in Kano concerning the primaries that was conducted. Now, they said they've sent a letter to both the police, the civil defense, INEC, that's talking about the Wali faction on conducting their, which all the other candidates, because there are 9 PDP gubernatorial candidates, apart from Muhammad Abacha, and one other that conducted their primary step. All the other 7 candidates conducted their primaries under Wali's faction. Now, that primary was conducted by the PDP National Secretariat, and it was conducted in Abacha Youth Center. While that of Muhammad Abacha faction was conducted in PDP Secretariat with INEC representatives. Now you can see the controversy. The Wali's primary election was carried out and was conducted by the representatives of the national headquarters, which is according to the law, and then there were no INEC representatives during their primary election. But the primary election that was conducted by the Abacha-led faction, there were no executives from the national headquarters, but then there are representatives of the Independent Electoral Commission. But according to cannot itself determine who wins the primary. Instead, it is the National Secretariat that will say, okay, we have the primary.
Well, Jibrin,
and this is the winner of the primary election.
Jibrin, yeah. We have heard you talk about the primaries that were conducted, and the fact that INEC witnessed the one that returned Abacha as the winner. However, INEC is saying that the reason they initially recognized Abacha and then later changed and said they were now recognizing Wali. INEC is saying the reason they did that is because they got a court order recognizing the Wali faction as the authentic PDP in the state. So what are you hearing about all of that?
Hello?
There was a court order issued stopping INEC from recognizing Muhammad Abacha as the legitimate candidate, because that primary election that produces Muhammad Abacha was not conducted by the INEC, by the national headquarters of the PDP, which they are the ones that will conduct the election. If you listen to Paco in my report, he was saying that the national headquarters sell the form for the candidate, screen the candidate, and then they are also responsible for conducting primaries election for them. So stops INEC from recognizing Muhammad Abacha. Since his primary election, it was the Wali faction that went to court to challenge the primary election that produces Muhammad Abacha.
Okay, so what would be the rule?
INEC from recognizing Muhammad Abacha.
All right. So what would be the role of the state chapter of the party in this instance, and where does the state party stand in all of this?
Well, you know, even like I said, there are two factions: the Wali's faction and then the Muhammad Abacha's faction. Then, in the Wali's faction of the party, there is no somebody that will say this is an elected chairman of the party. It's being headed by former Senator Bello Ayatu. In Muhammad Abacha's faction, there is the chairman of the party who was the election of the party, Shehu Wadas Agagi.
Which of the factions? Which of the factions is recognized by the national body of the party?
It's the Wali faction. That's the faction because as it is now, the leadership of the PDP in Kano has been dissolved by the national headquarters of the party, pending when they will resolve their crisis and conduct a new election. So the Wali's faction is the one that was recognized headquarters of the party, because this is the primary election that was conducted by national headquarters according to them.
So are there efforts to settle the problems within the party so that all members of the PDP are brought under one umbrella as one party instead of factionalized? Are there efforts within the state by maybe chieftains of the party or even from the national?
Well, that's the process right now. I spoke with Shehu Sagagi, who confirmed to me that they are in discussion with the other faction, trying to see how they can resolve their differences, and they hope to resolve it before the 20 general election. I have also spoken with the other faction who said they are not satisfied of Shehu Sagagi, because according to them, Sagagi is working for the NNPP, which is the Konkoso's newfound political party. But then both of them said they are trying to see how they can reconcile before the 2020 general election. I think this is most important among them, and they said they are working very well at achieving that.
All right. In your report, you mentioned that some, are accusing Rabi Musa Konkoso as responsible for the problems within the People's Democratic Party. Why do people believe that? I mean, he is now in the NNPP. So why are there those accusations?
Well, actually, what they are, basing their argument. Rabi Musa Konkoso left PDP, and all the leadership of the party, loyal to Konkoso, remains in the PDP. So this other faction is saying that there is no way that to say the leadership of the party did not follow Rabi Musa Konkoso. There is absolutely no way that could happen. Definitely there should be some people that they are following Rabi Musa Konkoso. Why did they remain in the party? And according to them, they are accusing them that them remaining in the party, they are destabilizing the party. They are trying to create a kind of faction for the party. In other words, indirectly working for Rabi Musa Konkoso. And they are accusing that even the secretariat of the PD personal property of Rabi Musa Konkoso, that is according to the other faction, which they believe that is a personal property of the Rabi Musa Konkoso. Hence, there is a primary election should even be conducted in a personal property of an individual, despite him being a member of the political party. So they believe Rabi Musa Konkoso is responsible for their crime, because the leadership, who are all loyal to him, none of them followed him to NNPP. They remain in PDP. They said they remain in PDP so that they can create problems within the PDP.
Okay, so these loyalists of Kwankwaso, are they in both factions now or what?
No, they are actually in one faction. They are actually in a faction of Muhammad Abacha because it's not to be a strong loyalist of Kwankwaso, and he meant there, and he is the leader of the Muhammad Abacha's faction. From the interaction I have had with several members of the party, I never come across anyone who is a loyalist to Kwankwaso and is now in Wali's faction. Most of them are in Muhammad Abacha's faction.
All right. This allegation of a group of people working for the NNPP, was that responsible for the factionalization of the party in the first place?
Of course, that's what some people, that is what they believe. There is no way they can follow Shehu Sagagi, who they believe is working for Kwankwaso. Therefore, the only way for them to get what they want is to stay away. Remember, I told you leadership of the party did not follow Kwankwaso, but then there are also those people who are loyal to Kwankwaso who did not follow him.
Okay.
Now they are not members, executive members of the PDP, but they refuse to follow Ravi Kwankwaso to the party, like Tangwani. They didn't follow him, and some of them even contested for the governorship position of the state.
All right, Idris.
Of the party.
All right, Idris, for there to be genuine reconciliation, one of the supposed candidates will have to bury his ambition for there to be real and genuine reconciliation. When you look at Abacha and then you look at Wali, do you see that happening? Do you see any form of compromise?
Like talking about reconciling?
Yes, bringing the two groups together, one of these persons will have to bury his ambition. Do you think any of them will be open to such kind of agreement?
Of course, end of the day, definitely one would have to agree and leave the other. But then, in the middle aspect of it, what did the law say? Did I win? Who wins the primary? And which such person followed in winning the primaries? So at the end of the day, definitely Muhammad Abacha, as I know, he's been contesting for governorship in Kano, and Sadiq Wali, this is the first time he's contesting for the governorship in Kano, but he believes that he wants the election because he has connections, and so also Muhammad Abacha has his own personal influence and connections. But at the end of the day, I sit down in one place, reconciling, agreeing with one particular candidate. None of them has a problem. I believe they will understand themselves at the end of the day.
All right. Thank you, Idris Debrain, for joining us on Daybreak and sharing these insights with us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, we'll now take a short breather, and then when we come back, the show will continue. Please stay with us. right, thank you for staying with us. If you are just joining, you're watching Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja. Now, prior to the current heart-wrenching, bloody activities of criminal gangs, the southeast region was one of the most peaceful in the country. While no alibi justifies the current carnage, some believe that southeast governors and the federal government provided a fertile ground for the wanton destruction of precious lives and property. We have joining us via phone the spokesperson of Ohaneze Ndibo Worldwide, Dr. Alex Chidozie Agbonia, who will be talking to us about the current security situation in the southeast region. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right. So let's start off by hearing from you. How does Ohaneze Ndibo feel about the current security challenges in the southeast?
Yeah, Ohaneze Ndibo, and in fact, the Igbo in general, we are very much unhappy and sad about the development southeast. Culturally, it's an abomination to care, or to Igbo to care. Anybody who has not read the book of Painful and we discover that somebody cares. The person is to survive, sometimes exile. That is as severe as it is in Igbo land. For whatever circumstance, thou shalt not care. That is going to culture the norm in Igbo land. Well, what is happening is very much strange to us. And I can tell you that all this started by April 2021. By the correctional center was implemented by unknown government. And the relative capacity of people who are suspected to have been in place. You need to think how them is to overwhelm the police, security officers, enter the correctional center, the child prisoners, and of course will go unarrested. But they continue to go on, because the cases, the violence, the insecurity have continued unabated. We are very sad about the development. And of course, there are three new kinds of all this insecurity. One is Fulani herdsmen, stroke farmer clash. That is one. The other one is what we call abductors on the highway, and the third one is unknown gunmen. Three major sources of insecurity in the southeast. Secondly, Ohaneze Ndibo had a meet with the governors and has a set up a battle in the states. As a matter of fact, each state has its specific very different nomenclature. Like in any way, how to call them, oil gas, and vigilante. But what we wanted was the central company for the Bubango. But unfortunately, from what is happening all over, everybody is being accused of adding fuel to the crisis. So, because it's very more difficult. I'm only trying to let you know that our nation are concerned, we will do our best. But unfortunately, I think our security agencies gradually, I don't know how to discuss them, but sometimes I do not take over.
Dr. Bonia.
For example, when they say that on Monday, and spread the status of operatives, legitimate security operatives, to protect the when they are to have businesses. But unfortunately, you don't find anyone and here and there.
Dr. Bonia.
It becomes difficult. So honestly, we are very much worried about what is happening. And sometimes we must continue to say that the state operatives, that is the security operatives, they should rise up to the occasion. Ultimately, the security line is the police and the commander for the armed forces. That is the role of the state in providing security.
Dr. Bonia.
So in that responsibility becomes problematic.
Dr. Bonia, in the heat of this crisis, the governors of the Southeast came together and then they set up the Ebube Agu. And the mandate of the Ebube Agu was to counter the attacks that, even though you refer to them as unknown gunmen, but a lot of persons say that the attacks are being carried out by ESN, which is the militant group or part of IPOB. But then the Southeast governors came up with Ebube Agu to counter this group. Then it turned out that Ebube Agu also, not long ago, killed some people that were coming back from a wedding ceremony in Imo State. What exactly is the situation? Is it that Ebube Agu, is it the formation of Ebube Agu? What happened with the formation of Ebube Agu? And do they know the exact mandate for which they were set up?
Now, let me answer this question on what the government and the ESN, the relationship between the two. They are called unknown government because agents are not able to unmask them. The moment you unmask them, irrelevant. So they were called unknown government because they are not able to know the people. They are not able to unmask them. So that if the security operatives come out with these are the people. The issue of the word unknown ceases to exist. I think at that time, it is to see when you will be able to unmask the people who are behind the attack. The issue of unknown will exist. Number two, we listen to what happened at our man. To a great extent, there were two versions to it. Governor and the official security agency are saying that the people who are unknown and the people who are unknown government, the community, we are saying that when they were saying unknown government, it is not so there were not unknown government, and it was able to attack them. It was BSS and security agents that did that. So we left to set up the system to find out the true position of the matter. So when you have proof to it, it becomes difficult for me to identify fully with one. So we'll be able to find out from him. We're trying to find out from Imo State, and then very soon we get the result. Exactly what happened.
All right.
Okay.
Because why the government is saying this, the other side is saying.
Okay, all right. Are they actually unknown gunmen? We've seen several videos online of how the ESN claims responsibility for some of these attacks. We've seen certain attacks on, for instance, INEC officials, people who are in voter registration centers, and, you know, IPOB have said time and again, we've seen that in videos, that there will be no election in the Southeast, and that they do not want any form of election and all that. So some of those videos actually are online, and we've seen some of them. Clearly, it is ESN. So should we really be saying unknown gunmen at this point?
Now, let me explain further. ESN is an offshoot of IPOB. It's very, very clear. So when IPOB claims, they don't claim this. When IPOB does not claim responsibility, invariably, it means that it's not ESN. But when IPOB claims responsibility, it is ESN. So like when you say this at home, for example, IPOB says SSN is it at home. Alright, it is no longer ESN objective. IPOB is it at home. Now, hold on. That's the problem.
All right.
It does not mean that every young person in Igbo land is ESN.
All right, Dr. Bonia.
Just just in the plan, 40 years, even if you can't, even if you arrest an evil, he does not ascribe him to ESN. He's a common criminal.
All right. Dr. Bonia.
So the nomenclature, excuse me, the nomenclature could be confusing. When you arrest a common criminal, don't ascribe him to IPOB or ESN. No. You call him for the name he is.
All right. All right, Dr. Bonia. As Ohaneze Indigbo, you are the leaders of the Igbo people. What have you done in your capacity to tackle this situation? How much engagements are you having with the youth and with all the community leaders? Because you see, most criminals don't just, they live amongst the people, right? I mean, look at yesterday when they arrested the killers of the Owo church incident. The governor of Ondo State said that even the man that housed them in Owo has already been picked up, which means that these criminals live within the community, mingle with members of the community before they do what it is that they do. So as Ohaneze Indigbo, what is your group doing about that?
Thank you. If you what is the other time, call the bishops, the archbishops, the priests in the Anambra State, the traditional rulers, and everybody, and all of them to cooperate with the government to ensure that information will be sent out from the part of criminals within the Anambra State. It is the same thing that they will go on the whole of the Southeast. No government that watches the state being destroyed by criminals. So ultimately, in spite of the meetings, all this is still come up. So no one can say that the Southeast leaders are no. We are doing the best we can. But there's a national catastrophe in the whole of the country. And that is why I responded last time that people should not single out the Southeast, and they haven't, for terrorism. Because why, if you go to East, for example, their own is going to long door with the government. There's about 5 years now. If you go to the Northwest,
all right.
Even the Katsina State.
All right, Doctor.
Is not ruled out. If you go to the Middle West, you see planning question everywhere.
All right, Doctor.
Move from Katsina to Abuja every time you see a problem everywhere. They are both here and there.
Okay,
so
Doctor.
We are opposed to you think Southeast and having more terrorism.
All right, Doctor. Just because of time, I would like you to quickly respond to this. There are those who feel that Ohaneze Ndigbo is some kind of sympathizes with IPOB. It kind of an apologist for IPOB. So could you speak to that? Can you people who have that mindset, can you talk about that? I recall that when IPOB was proscribed as a terrorist group, Ohaneze Ndigbo kicked against that. So what would you say to that?
Now, let me make some clarification. As a common ground, a kind of convergence between IPOB and Ohaneze Ndigbo. And there's also a point of divergence between IPOB and Ohaneze Ndigbo. In the point of convergence is where all of us are united in saying that Southeast was being marginalized. That's the point of convergence. But the point of divergence, whereas IPOB is talking about the referendum and the state of their own, what we call Biafra. Ohaneze is saying that no, there's no need for that. Choose the Nigerian greatness together. That we can achieve prosperity together with Nigeria. That the Igbos have the greatest or possess the greatest wealth of the Nigeria, are part of the development of rural communities in Nigeria. That the Southeast, that to retreat ourselves to South is not the best for us. It's for a position. I hope you understand. So, it is bombed by
Oh,
We
okay.
are not at variance with them at this point.
All right. All right. Thank you.
However, we must is that what you evil children. So
Okay.
there's
Thank
no
you.
way
Thank you,
can,
doctor.
somehow you will find that certainly paternalistic concern and assessment.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak. We have to end the discussion because of our time. We appreciate you joining the Daybreak show this morning. Thank you. Our guest has been Dr. Alex Chidozie Agbonia. He is the spokesperson of Ohaneze Ndibo Worldwide. With that, we've come to the end of the program for today. For those who have missed, you can always catch up on our social media platforms, and also don't forget, when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you get to watch all the news content and other current affairs programs there. My name is Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching. Join us again tomorrow for another time.
Thank you for spending this part of your morning with us. My name is Stella Iyaji. Join us same time, same station tomorrow. For now, do have a pleasant day.